sitting down with Indiana head coach Ray Looze, newly minted 2024 Women's Big Ten champion, which we see some of them in the back right there. You can, congrats. There's the Big Ten
See
champion.
you, Coleman.
Ray, it's good to see you. Congrats on the championship. I mean, I have to ask just right off the top, what were your expectations heading into this meet? I'm curious because we did not see this coming for you guys. We thought Ohio State was going to 5-peat on the women's side, and I'm curious what your thinking was heading into the meet, and if this was something that was even on your radar.
We thought we had an outside chance. So that's kind of what our thinking was. And we debated a lot on who was going to be exhibition, who was going to be scoring. We really debated a lot on events. Like there was a huge debate on Anna Paplowski and 2-back versus 100 free and things of that nature. Because we thought like, well, if we're going to even have any sort of chance, we really have to be sharp and near perfect. So that was kind of our thinking, at least from a coach's standpoint. I think our girls probably had, more of a certainty that they could have a shot just by watching them. This team has had a really, really good energy, and they wanted to, for example, go undefeated in their dual meets, season, and they really wanted to elevate the program in terms of like how we did. And so sometimes when a team sort of has a mind of its own like that, weird things can happen.
I love that phrasing. And I mean, what do you attribute that to? Just that team wanting to elevate in that way?
I would say that they have exceptionally good leadership, but they're very together, the entire team. Like they really have each other's back. And this kind of started last NCAAs. They just had a fun. They went into that meet because like our Big Tens last year, they weren't real happy with it. Neither were we. And then they just had a lot of fun just playing games at NCAAs. Like every day they'd meet up, put their phones away, and play a game. Just to be together. And then we would get early to the pool, and they'd be playing some game with their phone or trivia thing, and they'd make us do it too. And they just had a real light, happy-go-lucky feel about them, and they just kept that going into this year. And for whatever reason, it really works with this group of people. Like it takes the pressure away that you feel from these type of competitions, and I think it frees them. They had a freedom about them, and they cheered that a lot. Kind of like the Braveheart. Freedom. Like I just kept hearing that a lot. I don't even know if they've seen Braveheart, but yeah, just they really had a good energy and vibe. Talk about positive energy. They really have it.
Yeah. I mean, that's always great to hear. I'm sorry I don't know this. Did they go undefeated in the dual meet season?
They did. And Michigan had them dead to rights. And they had to win the last relay at the Michigan dual meet in Ann Arbor. And Michigan had been 3-10, 2 or 3 at their midseason. Mm-hmm. So it seemed unlikely because we'd only been 3-12. But they won that relay, and that won them the meet by like a point. I think we were like 152 to like 148, something like that. So won it on the last relay. So in a way that really prepared them for the moment that they faced, in at Big Tens. Like that dual meet against Michigan was really hard. We did not swim great. We were rusty, had a long break between competitions, and they were really ready to go. But they found a way to get it done. And I think that we'd already been in that exact moment. So they knew what to do.
Yeah. I mean, can you, I want to ask about a few specific moments of the meet, but you brought it up. I mean, that was the moment of the meet. It seems like, it's the last race. You guys are behind by 1.5 points, I think. I mean, it's coming down to this, that winner takes all. I think people were calling it a walk-off, It was. I mean, that's what you want to, as a fan, that's what you want to see in sports, right? Like this, it's all there. How are you feeling as a coach, and how do you feel like the team reacted in that moment?
Well, let me back you up a little bit. Like we were just hoping somehow to bring it to the last relay. It did not look good going into the final session. We still had to make up like over 50 points in that final session, which is really, really hard.
I remember looking at prelims and being like, "Oh, Ohio State's going to win."
Yeah.
Okay.
It really looked that way. And then just in that final session, things just started. We had like maybe one person fall back, like one, and had qualified lots of people in eighth, and just they started going one way, we started going the other, and like we were openly talking about, me too, and I'm like a very superstitious person, but I was like, is it too much to ask just to have a chance on this last relay? And like after every event passed, I go, do we still have a chance on the last relay? And they would be like, yes. Because we had people like following it a little more closely. I was trying to just stay in the coaching moment. So we knew Skylar had to like win that platform. And so I think that's a big part of it, because if she doesn't win it, we can't even, we can't win the meet at all. So Skylar did a handstand with the highest degree of difficulty that she does on the last dive, and no one does that. And I was like, Drew, what was up with that handstand? And he goes, we discussed it in January. And she goes, this is what I want to do at Big Tens. And Drew was like, well, you've got it reversed. Like, we don't do the handstand on the last dive. It's just like too hard of a dive to put that much on. And she goes, no. I'm doing the handstand on the last dive. And he goes, all right. And then like she does it, and she needed a dive with enough degree of difficulty and to hit it to just get it to the relay. And then she gets it to the relay. And, it was pretty cool, because like, there's we have a rivalry with both Michigan and Ohio State, and the Michigan girls came up to our girls and said, don't get us wrong, we want to win this relay, but we want you to beat Ohio State. So it was the 3-team battle the whole way. And, Ohio State kind of put all their chips into the center of the table by going Fulmer in the 3-hole. And I mean, we were so far behind, but that's their best gal. And they left their weakest leg for the end. And Christina Pagel is becoming one of the better relay swimmers in the NCAA. And I mean, I don't know. In a way, I just felt a peace the whole time. Like, I was not as stressed out as I think I normally would have been. Even with the relay DQ that we had, we put Anna Peplowski on the fly leg. We've never done that. She's never gone off a breaststroker. We won the relay. We would have won the relay, but we left early. But I was okay with it, because like that, we're trying to win. And we were, to do that, we had to win relays and beat them. And so in a way, like, my wife gets back to the hotel because she comes to these meets, and she goes, are you okay? And I go, yeah. I mean, because we're swinging we're swinging for the fences, and if you don't swing for the fences, you can never hit a home run. And so, luckily it worked out that a relay disqualification didn't decide the meet. That would have been a bummer either way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that was such a big swing in itself, and that's another moment I wanted to just ask you about, of having a relay DQ'd for you all, and then the next night having Ohio State's relay DQ'd and getting you kind of right back into the picture of being able to win, having a chance.
Yeah. Well, that's another characteristic I think of this team is they've really grown a lot, and their resiliency is really remarkable, because that was a very devastating moment, especially to Anna Peplowski. She had lost the 500 free, and had swum a race strategy that kind of played into Katie Crom's hands, because Katie's a really good finisher, and in that kind of race, Anna needs to be out front, and Katie gets her in the 500 free, and then she jumps in the relay. And we had met a little while before, and one thing that Anna's trying to work on is being able to be under pressure and then perform, like be in an A final, be able to perform under extreme pressure in the bright lights. And she goes, Ray, I don't know how to move forward from tonight. I really don't know how I can do that. And I said, well, that's exactly what we talked about, a month ago in the office, about how important it is. And now you have the opportunity to do that. And so she goes, I just forced myself to move on, because it's done. And, and our team had a pretty good session Friday morning. It wasn't great, but had a pretty good session. And I'll give Ohio State credit too. They came back from their relay DQ with a great session. So both sets of women really showed all the characteristics that you want out of young people, where, this stuff's not the end of the world. And you got to get back up and get back on the horse. So I really have a great deal of respect for both teams and both coaching staffs.
Yeah, I mean, because it seemingly both teams had a lot of success over the course of the meet, and a lot of setbacks or things that didn't go their way. And I assume that's most conference championships, or most big meets with the big teams.
Well, there was also another moment in prelims where we had a breaststroker tie for 24th. And she had to do a swim off, and she's like crying, and I can't do another one. And her teammates talked to her. I talked to her, and she snapped out of it. She won the swim off with a pretty good time.
Was this the 100 or the 200?
This was the 200 breast on the last day.
Oh my God. And
so she wins the swim off. She's in the lane 8 in the C final, and then wins the C final. And I go, it was McKenna Lesky, and I go, without that, we do not win this meet. And she was like, I go, how'd you turn yourself around? And she goes, really, it was how the girls talked to me. And she goes, and the way you talked to me. And I go, what did I say? And she goes, you've just never talked to me that way before. And I just felt like I was going to win. Because we work hard in the breaststroke group, and I just told her, I go, look, you could do 2 more of these, 3 more of these, and be just fine. And then she won the C final, and we always look at winning the C final or winning the B final as you're winning the one, ahead of yourself, because the win in the C final and last in the B final, that's only 2 points. Same thing for B to A. So we just try to look for those opportunities. And I still am in a state of shock that we made up that amount of points. I'm so grateful to even have had the opportunity to watch the meet, to just be this passive observer, watching these amazing women do something that I don't think it's ever been done, because you can't get any closer than a half a point. And you're talking about 1,359, 58 points. It's just crazy. The probability is, it's like winning the lottery. for us. Swimming lottery.
Absolutely. I I I coached on a club team, and the first time that the team won the sectional
Yeah,
meet over the other team that had won it for the last, I don't know, 2 decades or something. We won by 3 points on the last relay.
yeah,
And it was a similar thing where you look back and you're like, each little swim, like
yeah,
every little story of this whole
yeah,
4-day, 5-day experience, like, mattered,
yeah.
because if anything goes the other way,
It doesn't work
it
out.
doesn't work out.
No, and people were like, "Have you ever been through that before?" And I go, "I was in 2005 on my men's team, lost to Minnesota on the last relay by 3 points, and it came down to relay placement. Like they had to win. Like the
At
best
Big
we could,
Tens.
yeah, at Big Tens, the best we could do, like performance wise, was to get like third, and then we needed Northwestern to beat them. And Northwestern, this is in the Grievers time period, they were leading Minnesota until like the
Yeah.
last lap. And kind of similar, like we were behind in that 400 free relay until the last lap. Till the last lap, like we were down big, and it was just so exciting. I mean, I'm just happy for swimming because this was like a great show. This is what swimming, collegiate swimming, is capable of. Because like even like I've got neighbors that know nothing about swimming and they've gone back and watched and they were like, that was entertaining. And they know nothing about swimming or diving, but that, it was phenomenal, spectator experience and fan experience.
From that perspective, I mean, it seems like there has been a much bigger emphasis on spectator and fan experience in swimming as a whole collegiate season over the last few seasons. And like you said, you've been doing this a long time. You've been at Indiana for a long time. How do you feel like you've adjusted? To see your women go undefeated this season in dual meets. How do you feel like you had to adjust, though, to make sure that I feel like dual meets are a lot different now than they were maybe a
Yeah.
decade ago, or even 5 years ago.
Well, they are like our last dual meet. It was Louisville, Wisconsin, and some of those times were pretty similar from the meet we just had. And we have not been suiting up. And of course, you see people wearing technical suits for dual meets now, and the dual meets are just like incredibly fast. And I think you sort of have to accept part of that as a reality that's there. I mean, I'm kind of a little more traditional. I'd rather not do it, but Arthur Albiero was really insistent on doing it. So like Yuri and myself, we acquiesced, and that was a great dual meet. I mean, you saw some Ching and Wagoneer go 9:30s, like both like one of the better 1,000 races. It was a really entertaining dual meet because it was faster. So I think swimming faster is not a bad idea. And then some of the stuff that has been done, like skins races, things like that. I think we really need to open ourselves up to the possibility of like, trying to entertain our constituencies better, by maybe combining championships because there's great women and great men and bringing them together and I hope people are open minded to doing that and trying to move into bigger venues like the IU Natatorium, which seats around 5,000, or arenas. I would really love to see swimming take those next steps at the collegiate level because we've seen it at world championships. We've seen it at Olympic trials where, other organizations are trying to do big, exciting things.
Agreed. Yeah. So I feel like that's slowly happening now, but
Yeah.
this was just a conference championships, but it seemed like this was one step in that direction, certainly.
It was just incredible fun.
Yeah.
Incredible fun. I mean, it really wasn't stressful in a weird way. And trust me, as a coach, I certainly feel stressed, but like I was like enjoying it, watching just this great battle.
Well, and like you said, you guys were kind of, at least mentally for yourselves, I'm guessing you were kind of the underdog in that
Yeah.
you think you had a chance, but it wasn't like you were supposed to
Yeah.
win. And so you were swinging for the fences. And I think there's that feeling of relief comes, or that feeling of being at peace comes when you're like, I've put it all out there. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and I'd also say this, like the vast improvement of Michigan and Wisconsin, that has brought parity, and that made what we did made that possible. I believe, like, Ohio State wasn't as dominant, not because of the way they swam or dove. It's the conference is improving, and then you're adding in UCLA and USC next year. USC being a team that can kind of contend and win right out of the gate, and it's going to be really, really cool. And you're going to see that in the ACC and the SEC, of course, too. So I think we're going to see some really cool, like, conference championships, whereas before, say, Texas just doesn't even – the Big 12 is like – it's just like nothing. Now you're going to take those programs and, put them in the SEC, and, they're going to have to, like, go all in, and they will, and it's going to be exciting. Can't wait.
Agreed. Yeah, I think next year it will be a lot of fun to see. Yeah, how everyone adjusts to their new conference realignments. And so you're not even done. You are kind enough to take the time to talk with me right before you're getting on a bus to head to Ohio State for the men's meet.
Yeah.
First, how do you make that turnaround? I mean, you're home for like 2 days.
Yeah. I try to plan well in advance. So I try to, like, write workouts a couple weeks in advance this time of year, and then I'll fine tune them as I go. But like, I try to have, like, the things I can have done in advance. I try to do that. And then I just try to really spend time with my family on Sunday, and see if I can come down off, like, the high of competition that you feel. And then I think it's just important to get back into the normal routine on Monday. So even though we're kind of physically and mentally exhausted, both athlete and coach, we try to just get back to our routine. And I won't lie, I'm still feeling it. And, it gets a little harder as the years go by to, like, rebound, but I'm sure I'll be fine by tomorrow. And, I think that the kids deserve that we bring 100% energy, to whatever the competition, because for them, this is their season, from a conference standpoint. So I just try to step up to the plate. I mean, they're doing the heavy lifting. We're just coaching. So
yeah, I mean, so kind of a different kind of the opposite ball game heading into the men's meet, where you guys are the 2-time, 3-time defending champs.
Yeah, I really don't keep track of that stuff. I go into all these meets like, hey, it's anybody's game. So I try not to think too much about being an underdog or a favorite. I just try to keep it simple with our athletes. Let's go in and try to have a good meet and control what we can control. So I try not to get wrapped up in that, and also recommend that the team not think too big of themselves or too little of themselves. So we're going in there knowing that, hey, there's some really good teams here, and we just have to have a good meet. Have fun.
I think that's it. I don't know. I think that's a great note to end on. I don't know if there's anything else to say. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, but I go, if you can go watch the meet on the replay of the Big Ten, Big Ten Plus, I would do it, because if you haven't seen it, it's just awesome. It's really awesome. And even in some of the replays, you can hear the announcers and their emotions. So I think this was really good for swimming. So, and again, I take my hat off to Ohio State. They've been a great championship team, and they gave everything they had. And it's too bad there was a winner or a loser in this competition, but super proud of everybody involved.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.